name is Caleb Marin. I'm 19 years old, and this speech is for my communications class. Today my speech is going to be on my ethnic background, which is Mexican and Italian, but this speech I'm going to focus on my Mexican background, which is the one that fascinates me the most. So Mexican culture has always fascinated me in a particular way. I've learned about it in high school, I've learned about it from my family members and from my ancestors. So this culture is influenced by the Aztecs and the Spaniards, and they have been influenced for many generations. It's a Spanish-speaking culture, and their main religion is Catholicism. They value food, family, hospitality, generals, and respect. And they have many beliefs in food, birth, death, and health. So going into health beliefs, they have 4 main causes of illness, which is, one is sinful, imbalance, witchcraft, and susto. So most of you know this first 3, but susto is a more mental illness, kind of like a mental disability like anxiety, PTSD, or stress, kind of things like that. Going into food values, it's very an important part of the culture. So the way they do it is, if you don't eat your elders' food or their cooking, like if I didn't eat Nana's food, it's a sign of disrespect to the family. So like in the movie Coco, I know most of you have seen that Disney movie, when Coco didn't eat his grandma's tamales, she got very mad, which is a huge sign of disrespect. It's very disrespectful if you don't eat their dishes or if you don't finish your whole food. So if you don't clean your entire plate, you're going to be in trouble. So going into health practices, there's the mother of the family is always in charge of healing. So say you have a slight headache or anything, the mother will always have a certain remedy. So no matter what it is, even if you have a slight cut, she'll give you the most ridiculous remedy, and she thinks that's the best thing for you. So they also believe in something called passing the torch, where the mom, she has control of all the remedies, and then she believes that if she passes it to her daughter, she is now in charge of healing the family. And the most of the thing that they believe in is aloe vera, cacti, and mostly tea, because they believe tea cures everything. Now I'm going to talk about birth practices. So they have something called La Cuarentina, which is quarantine in quotation marks, which is where there's 6 weeks of no sex, certain foods, and no activity, where the mom has a new baby and she focuses just herself and the baby, and the family helps out with that. The family can't intervene, and the family can't do anything to help them. It's literally just the mom and the baby for 6 weeks. Going into death practices, it's very family oriented, which means there's no such thing as nursing homes or hospices that they believe in. So when a family has their grandma and grandparents, in most family Mexican households, their grandma and grandpa will live with them until they're dead. One of their celebrations, which is one of my most favorite ones, would be the Day of the Dead. That's the most common one that people know about. You know, it's like a week-long celebration where they celebrate the deceased family members living in the afterlife, which is a lot of movies are based off of it, like Book of the Dead and Coco. It's very fun, very truthful, a lot of music, there's a lot of food and candles, and the main thing they do with that is where they see, you know, you guys see like photos of where there's a bunch of food and drinks set out, there's all these candles and stuff. So they believe that in a few weeks, when they go and try to taste the food, it's stale. Like all the soda has lost their carbonation, the food has lost their flavor. And the reason for it is they believe that the ancestors come and eat the flavor of the food. They don't necessarily eat the food, they eat the flavor, and they drink the flavor. That's why it becomes stale in the next few weeks. So in conclusion, just to reiterate and just to remember you guys, the Spanish-speaking culture, it's very Catholic, so they believe in Catholicism. That's why there's a lot of churches, they believe in Jesus Christ and a lot of stuff like that. They've been influenced by the Aztecs and the Spaniards. They love food and their family, and they're always helpful from birth to death, meaning as soon as you're born, you're a member of the family until the day you die. They have a lot of yummy food and a lot of yummy dishes. So if you guys have ever been to Mexico or any Latin-speaking countries, most of the local food would probably be the best Latin food that you'll ever have in your life. It's a very interesting culture, and I'm very lucky to be Mexican and have that culture in my background. Thank you.